Welcome back to Telltale Books. I'm going to talk about a story called The Bet by the great Russian more than short stories, but I know him best for his short stories, Anton Chekhov. This is a story I had never read, but it's kind of a funny journey, and this is the way reading goes. Okay, this is the way it should work. I was reading the next in the Ballard series, the J.G. Ballard series, called Manhole 69. And in that story, character in the story references Chekhov's short story, The Bet. And Ballard probably took a lot of inspiration from that story for his story, Manhole 69. I'll get into that in the separate Ballard video that I'm doing this week. But because of the strong reference back to the Chekhov story, which I had never read, I wanted to read it. So I looked it up. I found it was available for free online, and I quick read it. It's just a short story. It's a very interesting one. It was published in 1889. January 14th, 1889 is the date that I found for publication, but I couldn't find any reference to where it was published. But that's the date it was first published in Russia. So, of course, I'm reading a translation. And I honestly don't even know who translated it. It didn't say. So, can't credit the English translator, but I read an English version, of course, because I don't read Russian or write Russian or anything. So, anyway, the story, which I'm doing this video quick because in researching, after reading this story, I did a little research on this story, okay? And I found out it's Anton Chekhov's birthday on January 29th. He was born January 29th, 1860. January 29th happens to be Emily Schmidt's birthday. Happy birthday, Emily. So I thought I wanted to get this Ballard video up during this next week after January 29th. I thought I better quick read the story, quick shoot a video, edit it, get it up before Sunday so that I can meet the birthday anniversary of Anton Chekhov. And let's see, this would be 162 years since his birth, if my math isn't rusty. As of the date that I'm posting this video on YouTube, Sunday, January 29th, 2023. Oh, so that would be 163. Okay, so to the story, The Bet. I'm not going to spoil this story, although there's just a ton of great ideas going on here. But the basic story is that this banker is throwing a party for a whole bunch of society people, I don't know. And one of the people at the party is a young lawyer. Okay. So the banker is making the statement that he thinks that the worst form of punishment would be a life sentence, a life solitary sentence. Got to qualify that. A lifetime in solitary confinement would be worse than death, than being put to death. And he makes the offhand comment that he'll put up 2 million, I don't know, whatever the money system was in Russia, like $2 million, let's say, if somebody were to try to stay in completely solitary confinement voluntarily for 3 to 4 years. Lawyer speaks up and says, I'll take that bet, but I'm going to do it for a full 15 years. And the deal is he's confined in a lodge out back at this banker's mansion, but he's under watch so that he can't leave without people seeing him. And the people watching him will get him pretty much wherever he wants to eat, wherever he wants to drink, all the books, wherever he wants to entertain himself while he's, and it's like a guest house, so it's got full facilities, bathroom and heat and everything. So he's living fairly well, but he's not able to have any real contact with any people. The people that are guarding him are putting meals and stuff in through a secret hole where he can't talk to them. And they don't try to talk to him either. They're under orders. Full 15 years. Okay. That's the foundation of the story. The story has so many themes going on about justice, about loneliness, about greed, about society, about attitudes towards one another. There's the whole story of how the banker feels about the whole thing throughout, and his feelings change about things through the 15 years. And there's a whole story of how the lawyer goes through changes in confinement throughout the 15 years. It's quite well done. I'm not going to give this quite a top tail status. Maybe it's a translation I read, but I felt it was a little light. I don't know if that's the right word. The writing could be fleshed out better. It seemed kind of summarily written rather than really engaging fiction. And like I say, that could very well be the translation I read. An uncredited translation online, and it was super short. Somewhere else I saw where it was supposed to be 26 pages. This was nowhere near 26 pages. It might have filled 3 pages in a normal book at a normal type size. So I think the specific version I read was kind of like Cliff Notes version, and not really the true full story, accurate translation of the story. So I'll have to research that more, and maybe if I read a better, accurate translation from the original story, I'd probably would boost it up to a top tail, because it's got some really cool themes going on. So, The Bet by Anton Chekhov. It's the first video we have done of Anton Chekhov, and that's one of the things I want to correct this year. Is I want to get deeper into those classics, those great authors from the past, especially ones that you don't hear all that much about anymore. I mean, you go into Barnes & Noble, you can find books of Chekhov, but you go onto BookTube, you don't hear people talking much about Chekhov. There are a very small number that focus on classics that have done videos of other pieces by Chekhov, but never this story, and, well, just not that much. I think there should be more. And I've only read a couple other short stories by Chekhov, but I've loved them. And my whole life I've wanted to read a lot more Chekhov. And he's written plays, and he wrote a novel. He wrote quite a lot of other short stories. There's a lot to get into with Chekhov. And so look forward to more videos of the work of Anton Chekhov. Like I say, this one, I kind of got into it simply because I was reading a J.G. Ballard story that referenced it. And I got curious, and so I went. But that's how reading should go. That's how your reading should go too. Is you should be reading one thing and find out, hey, they're referencing this other book, and you go out and investigate that, and that leads you to investigate something else. And a friend says, oh, well, you like that, you should read this, and you go through that winding journey, a path all your own that nobody else is really taking. Even if you have people that you do buddy reads with, their path will sometimes intersect with yours when you do a buddy read. But after that buddy read, they're probably going to go off onto some other book, but you're not going to follow them onto that. You have this over here that you want to, and so your paths are going to diverge and come back and cross and diverge again and come back again, and it's a winding road, a long and winding road. Hey. It really is. And everybody's road is different with reading and literature. And that's what makes it really great. That's what makes this activity so amazing. So go look up Chekhov and look up the bet. And I'll be talking a little more about it when I get into Manhole 69 by J.G. Ballard coming up this week. So I'll see you in the next video.